everyone's just stoked on Enduro, and it's really cool to see, and it's cool to be a part of. It seems that Enduro is bigger than downhill, and I think like even for the organisers, I heard that originally it was an Enduro that they wanted.
We only had 2 races so far, but it's been like so positive.
Yeah, it was just good vibe start to finish. It was class.
The organizer have like put a lot of effort to make some really good races, and
like it's real funny when you're doing well, like how people talk to you a bit differently.
I don't know if it was the best bike for this race, but for sure she was the best rider.
Yeah, like everyone talks about, bringing back the good old days, but we've actually surpassed the good old days. We're doing more than back then. I was chatting to Richie and he was just like, I'll never wear a backpack. No, I don't like them. They look terrible.
All right, it's time to check in on Enduro, and we've got 2 riders fresh off the podium at the last round in Poland. First off, Greg Callaghan. How's things, mate?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just got back last night and pretty tired, but coming back to life.
Good stuff, mate. Thanks for jumping on a call. And we're also joined by Morgane Charre. Morgane, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, same. Got back last night, and it's good to be home for a few days before the next race.
Excellent. Good stuff. And It's starting to feel like Enduro's back, Greg. We're 2 rounds in. There seems to be more buzz and a lot more kind of buoyant vibes around Enduro than there was, certainly last year and the end of last year with some teams dropping out. Give us your thoughts on just that state of Enduro right now, because it feels positive.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Like we're 2 races in, and it really felt like a fresh start this season. There's some new management around Enduro, and there's quite a few changes to the format and the structure of how the races were. And it was really welcomed. The atmosphere at the first, especially in Pietra, the atmosphere was really, really good, and everyone was loving it. And yeah, everyone's just stoked on Enduro, and it's really cool to see, and it's cool to be a part of, because the atmosphere on a race week is so good and so uplifting. It's really cool.
That's ace to hear. What about you, Morgane? Are you getting similar vibes?
Yeah, for sure. I think this year, like we only had 2 races so far, but it's been like so positive, and I feel like riders have been like listened with feedbacks and stuff, and the organizer have like put a lot of effort to make some really good races, and everyone was just stoked to be riding good tracks and really good races.
Excellent. That is really good to hear. And Warner Brothers Discovery recently announced this new 8-part like Drive to Survive-esque documentary series that's going to follow the EDR. What are your thoughts on that, Greg?
Yeah, it's really, really cool. It's because there's so many stories that happen during an Enduro race and a season, and it's hard to fit all that into a recap video. So it's cool to have this kind of long format storytelling videos that'll, really go in depth into what happens at the races. And yeah, there's just so many stories to tell, and so far it seems like they're capturing a lot of stuff. So I think it's going to really give a good picture of how an Enduro race is.
Yeah, Morgane, what have you seen of that so far then? Like, how are they starting to pull this thing together? Are you seeing evidence of it on the ground? Are you being dragged into interviews? What's happening?
Yeah, so in Pietra, they had like a trailer kind of thing on the big screen during the rider presentation. I think they used like images from last year, and they like made this like as a trailer. So it was like super exciting already to see they put a lot of work into it like already. And then they've been like, filming interviews and filming like behind the scenes kind of stuff the last few races. They did a track walk with us last week. And they just try to like capture like all like different kind of stuff, not necessarily like during the race, but also like before and after. So I think it's really cool. And I think probably for Enduro, the like live doesn't really work. We like tried, but like it's hard to do it, and it's a long day of races, so it would be like a lot to watch. So I think this format is like really, it suits the sport really well. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, and good to get some coverage. I guess it's going to be on TNT Sports, Discovery Plus kind of stuff, Greg. Like, do you think it will pull people in that maybe wouldn't have seen the sport before?
Yeah, for sure. I think that is the goal. I think it's HBO Max or one of those that it's going to be on. So yeah, it's going to go to a really wide audience, and probably the people that maybe don't follow mountain biking or Enduro specifically, which is really cool. And yeah, like I say, like so much happens at the races, and I think it will be really captivating for an outside audience, because to have never seen a sport like this and then see like, oh wow, these guys are really going through a lot during a race weekend. I think it'll be really cool, and it'll show the sport in a good light and hopefully pull some new people into mountain biking, which is always great.
Brought a lot of people into F1 through that project on Netflix, so it definitely has the potential to convert non-fans into fans when they see the human side of a sport. So yeah, excited to see that when it premieres. I think in the summer we'll start seeing the first episodes. Insta360 are leaders in the world of 360-degree and action cameras, and they're seriously invested in mountain biking, backing a ton of top riders like G. Atherton and Matt Jones, as well as events like Hardline and Darkfest. Action cameras are a great tool, whether you're shooting POV footage, filming your mates, or using them at races to check lines, remember tracks, or even time your runs. Insta360 have got something for everyone, with a full range of 360 cameras, traditional action cameras, and the tiny thumb-sized Go series, plus a huge range of mounts and accessories to help you film however and wherever you ride. I've been putting in time on their Ace Pro 2, and honestly, it's impressed me. The image quality is incredible thanks to a lens developed in partnership with Leica, and the low light performance really stands out. Let's be honest, most of us are filming in the woods, so that's a big win. I had it mounted on Insta360's super easy to use chin mount, and with just the standard stabilization switched on, it gave me the best action cam footage I've ever captured, and it was the easiest to get set up too. With a built-in wind guard and smart audio processing, wind noise is a thing of the past. Battery life is great, the touchscreen is super responsive, and you can even flip it up if you fancy doing a bit of vlogging. It's simple, powerful, and a pleasure to use, and however you want to mount it, Insta360 have the accessories to make it happen. You can check out the entire range at insta360.com, and if you use the code DOWNTIME at the checkout, you'll get a free helmet chin mount with any Ace Pro 2 or X5 purchase. That offer runs until the 30th of July 2025 and is limited to just 30 free chin mounts, so don't hang around. And another really good thing for this year, in my opinion anyway, is the return of 2-day racing. Maybe it's a bit different if you've got to do those 2 days of racing and 2 days of practice, but you will love riding your bike and love putting big shifts in. So I'm sure you've been enjoying it. Morgane, when did you actually find out, though, that you were going to be doing like back to the full kind of 4-day program with 2 days practice, 2 days race?
Yeah, so there was kind of a rumor. I think it was from Greg, because he was paying a lot of attention to the rule book during the winter. So I think he saw that they changed the rule book to like kind of hint to like 2-day races again, but it wasn't like confirmed or anything. And then I knew, like, just like as everyone, I think just like a few weeks, maybe a month before Pietra, we knew like the schedule, and we could see like actually we're going to have like 2-day races every time we are not doing a downhill race. So I think it's Pietra, Val di Fassa and Morillon this year. So yeah, super exciting. I think it's great to have a bit of both, like 2-day races and then also like shorter races. And it's, it's really like enduro to have like this kind of variety and really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely good to mix it up. Obviously, Greg, it sounds like you had your nose over the rule book a bit and maybe had a bit of a hint of it, but I would imagine, and I might be totally wrong here, but like training for a 2-day, or I guess fundamentally it's 4 days of long days out on the bike compared to what you have been doing, which has been often a practice day, a rest day, and then the race day. Like, I would imagine the training is a bit different. Like, how have you considered your training over this winter with that thought that maybe the bigger days were coming back?
Yeah, I think it was more of a coincidence that I kind of figured it out, because I went on the UCI website to like check the dates or something for booking accommodation. And like that day or the day before, the new rule book had been uploaded. So I just went in, had a look at it, and it mentioned 2-day racing and like new rules around that. And then I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't think that was there last year. And it wasn't there last year. So then that was the first hint, and yeah, that was quite early on, I guess. But yeah, so I spoke to my coach, Chris Camurray, about it, like, should we change anything? We kind of figured that, like, we train 6 days a week anyway, so we're already doing back-to-back days all winter, and the only real change we made was maybe some weeks we shifted some of the heavier days to later in the week, just so you're doing your heavy intervals and your big days with accumulated fatigue already. But otherwise, it was kind of the same. Like, I think the fitness level in enduro is so high anyway that people are kind of prepared for it, and that was something we saw in Pietra. Like, it was a savage week, but to be fair, everyone got on with it, and everyone was, for the most part anyway, people were able for it, which I think is kind of a testament to where that level is at.
Yeah. What about you, Morgane? Are you similar to Greg in that respect?
Yeah, really similar. I think we spoke about it with my coach, and yes, we're doing quite a lot already. So we can't really add any hours to the training, but I did like a couple of times, like 4 days in a row before Pietra to like just like feel like ready and see how it feels. And it was good. And then Pietra went pretty smooth actually.
Yeah, let's talk about Pietra. First round this year, it was the first round last year. And last year, I think it went down as a race with very tight liaisons. It was super hot. Stories of people passing out in bushes and all sorts throughout the race. How did this year's course compare, Greg? It looked like quite different.
Yeah, it was. It was very different. And I think like one thing for the liaison times, like this year in practice, we rode the full course in practice, so there was no shuttles allowed, which was really cool. And that was a conscious decision from Warner Brothers to try level the playing field between the pros and privateers. So everyone, in practice we had one shuttle and it was provided by the organizer. So there was no like team vans, team shuttles and all that stuff, which was really nice because you just started your day and you went for a bike ride for the whole day. You didn't need, because normally in Finale and Pietra, there's that element of shuttles and logistics and what's the best way to do it and who's doing what and all that. Whereas there was none of that this time. It was just, we just went biking. And it was really cool. And then because we rode the liaisons in practice, we could keep an eye on the liaison times they'd given us. So then like there was a massive liaison between stage 1 and 2. And a few people felt in practice it might be a little tight, the time they'd given us. I think it was like 2 hours 45. So we told them that and they gave us another 15 minutes and then in the race it was perfect. So yeah, like, it was really cool and it was really smooth the whole way through, which was really cool.
Ace. And Morgane, I think the trails that we've had sometimes in Finale have maybe picked from the jankier end of the spectrum, some super tight turns and awkward stuff. Everything I've seen from like helmet cameras and things looked a bit more fun, maybe. I don't know. Like, in your opinion, were there a better selection of trails this year?
Yeah, I think especially maybe last year the trails were like not what you would ride if you go to Finale, like they were maybe not the best ones that they choose, but like, I don't know. But this year for sure there were really good trails. I think they used definitely the best trails in the area for Pietra for sure, and a good selection as well. Some like quite short and really intense stages, and then I think we had 3 really long ones, like around 10 minutes, even maybe more. So yeah, and it was like really, really fun to ride, like really good stages, like the kind of ride you would like to go and do if you were there. So yeah, it was, I think everyone had a great time and a lot of fun riding.
Yeah, do you think that's a good thing, Morgane, to have that mixture of stage lengths? Like, if that feels to me like quite an enduro thing, to have, you need to be tested over a 2-minute stage and a 20-minute stage, like, and you almost had those in the same weekend.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's like, yeah, giving like a proper challenge, and you have to be good at everything, like doing 4 days in a row. So it's like a lot of endurance over a few days, and also like being able to ride like long stages, still like not do too many mistakes and just keep going for ages. Your arms are really pumped and you have to keep going. And then also like do these like really sharp, really intense stages. And also it was quite different. Some of them were really rocky, really rough, and some of them were just like more mellow, but you had to pump to find some good flow. So yeah, it's such a good mixture of everything, and I think that's what makes the top enduro riders really good. So yeah.
Nice.
Stash Space Rails is the ultimate way to store your bikes. You can get more bikes into less space. It's really easy to fit, it's really easy to use, get to whatever bike you want exactly when you need it. Downtime viewers get 10% off their entire order by heading to stashproducts.co.uk/downtime and using the code DOWNTIME, all in capitals, at the checkout. Upgrade your bike storage today.
Greg, I got the impression that the 2 practice days was just a bunch of good mates having like 2 really good days on the bike. Like I don't know why, I've never felt like I've got that much of a positive vibe from enduro practice before. Was it like that out on the trails?
Yeah, absolutely. It was class. And like I said, like we were just out on the bikes all day. So there was no like messing around with fans and blah, blah, blah. You were just out on the bike, chilling, cruising up the climbs, and then you bump into people, you chat for a bit, and then they stop, have a snack, you bump into someone else, you chat to them. And yeah, it was so cool. And it was the same in the race. Like you just spent the whole day just hanging out with the riders that were seated around you. And yeah, it was just good vibe start to finish. It was class.
Which is exactly the best way to kick off a season. And 2 huge days of practice and then following up with 2 huge days of racing, Morgane. I'm guessing like fueling and hydration becomes pretty important in these 4-day events.
Yeah, I think that was my main goal during practice and even during the race, to like try to, even if you don't want to eat, I was like, yeah, you have to try to eat as much as you can, and so you can still have some energy for the race. And I think we managed it pretty good. Definitely the legs weren't super fresh on Sunday morning, but not too bad. And it was cool to have that challenge again, to do like a big week of riding.
Go on, Greg.
Yeah, the hydration and fueling thing was quite funny. Like it was a bit of talk around backpacks. And it was a perfect week to break the backpack out, and I'm a big backpack fan, so I was wearing one anyway. But I did a rider presentation on Thursday evening, and Enrico asked me about wearing backpacks, and I was like, yeah, I'm all for it, blah, blah. And then afterwards, I was chatting to Richie, and he was just like, I'll never wear a backpack. No, I don't like them. They look terrible. And then Sunday morning, he arrives at the first stage wearing a backpack. And he actually went to a shop on Sunday morning and just bought a backpack for himself, because he was just like, I need to eat and drink.
Yeah, fair play. How are you managing that nutrition and hydration side then, Greg? Like, I'm guessing it gets like fairly scientific and measured at these points.
Yeah, and a big thing for that one was we didn't have any TAS technical assistance during the race, so what you need to eat for the day you had to carry from the start. You couldn't like go to your pit and stock up on snacks. So yeah, like for me, like I just had it worked out, and as I say, filled my backpack, filled my frame, filled my pockets with food, and then every time there was water, I was filling up again. And yeah, I'm quite a high sweater, so I had to just get as much fluid in as I could. And yeah, it was definitely something to manage. And I think it's, you can do a little, if you were a little low on day 1, it wouldn't feel too bad, but if you did it again on day 2, it would just accumulate. So by Sunday, you really had to have been good the whole week so that you were still strong by Sunday afternoon, because you were still racing at that point,
Yeah. Morgane, is it something that's heavily embedded in the process and you just do it almost because it's a muscle memory thing, or do you set like a reminder on your phone or on your bike computer or something to beep and tell you to eat and drink? Like, how are you making sure you're getting enough in? Because my experience of those sort of things is that it's kind of fairly straightforward to do until you start getting tired. And then when the fatigue kicks in and your brain starts to go a bit fuzzy, maybe that doesn't happen to you guys because you're professional athletes and I'm not, but like I find that it's the latter parts of the days where I'm like just trying to survive rather than remembering to eat and drink properly.
Yeah, I think for me it was just like such a big focus, like main point for this weekend. I was really like, okay, I need to like, after like when I finish every stage, I was like taking a snack, and then during the liaison another one, and then trying to like drink as much as possible, have like some sports like electrolytes and stuff. To make sure you hydrate really well. So I didn't set any like reminders or anything, but before the race, I was like looking at the liaison and everything, and like preparing like all my snacks and stuff, and being like, okay, first liaison I hit that, and then second one I hit that, and I think it worked. It worked okay.
And does that continue into the evenings, Greg? Like once you're off the bike at the end of the day, what's your like protocol for smashing calories and topping up on electrolytes and all that good stuff?
Yeah, exactly. It's literally from when you wake up until when you go to bed. Like for me, it was waking up straight away, a bottle of electrolytes, and a lot of rice. Like I follow road cycling quite a bit, and I've read some stuff about what those guys do, and it just seems to be rice. Like carbs are king. So like I was rice. Breakfast, bit of it on the bike as well, and dinner as well, and just it just felt like you were just constantly eating because you're just constantly hungry. And even afterwards, like the days after, you're kind of replenishing your stores, so you're still just starving. So yeah, I just felt like I've been eating for the last 2 weeks.
Good effort. And yeah, pretty mixed conditions, I think, once racing came around. Like it was dry in spots, wet in spots. Morgane, how was it trying to deal with that, like constantly changing conditions?
Yeah, it's funny in Pietra because it feels like that one mountain where we go to at the start of the longer stages, so like stage 2 and 5, it's always wet. Like every time you get to that, there was a feed station just like a bit below the start of these stages, and every time you go there, it was starting to rain or being like really cloudy and everything. So I think, yeah, we got pretty much dry conditions for the world race, and it just started to rain quite a lot for stage 2, which was like really, really wet. And some people, they didn't even had like mud guards on the bike because by the beach or by the coast, it was like really sunny and nice. And just in that spot, it was just really, really wet and you couldn't see anything. And then, yeah. So, I think it was mostly this one. But then after that stage, on stage 3, we got there and it was again like really dry and dusty conditions. So even for your brain, it's really weird and really hard to adapt because you just did like a 10 minutes ride in the wet, like really like cold and muddy conditions. And then you get to the next one and it's like dry and dusty and loose rocks. So yeah, but like overall, I think it still rides really well in the mud there. It's a really good track and it's just a bit slower, and yeah, I think just the vision was the main challenge for me on that one.
Yeah, good to have those again, like being good in every condition, every trail length type. Like it's a cool test of a world-class enduro rider, I guess. And it's been interesting this season. We're starting to see some new names cropping up in bits and pieces, and there was a few that kind of showed their hands in finale, hitting some top 3s on some of the stages. Greg, Winnie Goldsberry was a name that popped out. I've heard a bit about Winnie from her like pre-elite career, and I think, did you guys have a little mates race recently? Do you know Winnie a little bit?
Yeah, we did. We kind of wanted a pre-season race, and there were so many fast people around the area here that we just kind of rounded up a few people and did our own like mates race. And yeah, Charlie Murray came and he brought Winnie as well because he's helping her out this year, that they're traveling around together. And yeah, she's class. Like she just got such a good energy, such a good vibe. Like she's just so stoked all the time. It's so cool. And like I'd seen her last year, but I never actually met her. And yeah, it was really cool. And she's a sick rider, and it's cool to see her, start the season so strong and have that pace straight away in the elites. Yeah, for sure. And another name in the female elite, Morgane, was, and I'm probably going to get the pronunciation wrong, so apologies, Simona Kuchnikova. Do you know much about her? Have you had any time to chat to her?
Yeah, a little bit. I saw her already the last 2 years. She was in U21 and she was already like riding so well. I think the first time I noticed her was in Châtel 2 years ago. And she was just like, yeah, such a good like riding position and attacking the trails and riding so good. And now she's in elite and she's having some really, really good stages and really good results. I think this year, so they changed so there is no more U21 category. It's only the junior, so under 18. So like a lot of like really young riders that would have been like U21, they're now in elite, like Winnie. I think Simona was going to be elite anyway. But like, yeah, they're riding pretty fast and it's cool to see new riders. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and we'll talk a bit about Rafaela and Ellie as well, but maybe we'll save that until the Poland part of this chat. Morgane, was it a surprise to see Hattie going so well on what is a pretty heavy belt-driven bike? Like everyone's talking about her, can she win a downhill World Cup? And if so, is the belt drive helping? If anything, I thought the belt drive gearbox bike would hinder her in EDR, being kind of heavier, maybe a little less efficient on the pedaling, but it didn't seem to slow her down.
Yeah, I think Hattie, she's just so good that any bike, I think she could do really well. So yeah, I don't know if it was the best bike for this race, but for sure she was the best rider, like female that weekend. I think she's such a strong rider. So like in the long stages, she was putting a lot of time into the other competitors. And then because she's been training a lot for downhill and riding like more gravity this winter, I think it helped her technique, and she's like, she was really, really strong. So good to see.
Yeah, I guess she's still got that base fitness from sort of XC, cyclocross, enduro, all the other things she's been doing, and added even more focus on skills, which she was already pretty good at. So yeah, it just makes her more dangerous, I suppose. Yeah,
she's so good. And we could see this like last weekend in Poland. She was racing the downhill and she got third in qualifying. So I think she's going to be a big threat for the wins also in downhill. So,
definitely. It's going to be interesting. So how was your race, Morgane? Talk us through Pietra from your perspective.
Yeah, so for me, I just love Pietra. It's one of my favorite places to ride. So I had so much fun in practice already. And like Greg said, I think it was great not to have the shuttles because it was just like so much less stress and you were just like riding. And my race, it went pretty good. I think stage 1 was probably the best for me. It was really long, but like so much fun. And I pushed and I got second on that one, like quite close to Ella. So it was great. And then pretty much everything went quite smooth. I didn't have like big issues or anything. I went off the track once, but on like a 45 minutes race, it doesn't really matter. I think I had like a good pace. Ended up third, so like pretty happy. Like solid start to the season. I probably want a bit more, but it's a good start. And I think Ella and Harriet, they were like really strong. So happy.
Good stuff, Greg. What about you? Talk us through your race. Maybe a few little ups and downs in there.
Yeah, it was up and down. It was overall, it was good. Like I definitely left happy for the most part, but I think like I started a little slow. The first stage was so long and physical that I think I paced it too much. Like I was a little afraid of how physical it was going to be. And it's so easy in enduro to just get in like a smooth, clean riding and tell yourself like, no, this is good, it's efficient, you're saving energy, like it's good. And then like there was a tarmac road, say like 2/3 of the way down, and I hit that road and I was kind of like, probably feel a little bit too good here. And then like turned it up for the last bit, but like you've lost so much time at that point. So then I think I was like 20th on that stage and not so happy. It's not where I wanted to be. And then the next stage I was kind of angry, and it was another long physical one and it was hammering with rain. So I was like, right, this could be a good one. And just attacked it. Like I kind of pretended it was short in my mind and just attacked all the way, and I ended up third on that one. So like complete flip. And then like the next stage was a short, dry one, completely different. And I like just had another clean run and was like 31st. And I was like, oh my God, I'm all over the place here. But then Sunday it got better, and eventually I got myself up to 10th before the last stage, and 8th or 9th was kind of within reach if I had a heater. So tried to throw down a heater, had a crash, dropped myself back to 12th. But like I had 2 third place stages, so I knew the speed was there, which is kind of the biggest thing. It's the worst is if you get a result you're not happy with and you don't really know why. Whereas at least I showed signs of speed, so I knew like I had all the pieces of the puzzle. I just needed to put a good race together and I could be there. So overall I was happy, even if I definitely wanted more from the weekend.
Did you go back up and find your peak from that last stage though? That's the important question.
Oh no. So my mechanic went straight up. He was on my e-bike at the bottom of the stage, so he went straight up and rode the track. Didn't find the e-bike, spoke to a marshal, and the marshal was like, there was a kid who had it. So then he was like flying around, which to be fair, if you're a kid watching a race, that's a pretty sick souvenir.
Yeah.
So he went around trying to find the kid and no joy. So shout out to Dave Designs, Barcelona. They painted a peak on Monday and I had it on Wednesday morning in Poland.
Good effort.
They saved the day.
That is a good effort. And I think everyone pretty stoked to see Dan Booker take the win for the first time there. I mean, okay, he has some good brand support, but he's effectively a privateer doing everything for himself, I think, from what I can work out. I heard on Ed's podcast that he ended up buying the wrong compound tires, like the harder of the Maxxis compounds rather than the Max Grip, and raced on them, won on them. Didn't have a mud guard, so he smashed something together out of a bit of old inner tube, like full old school style, and threw the backpack, shorts and flat pedals on, and went and won a World Cup, which is pretty cool, Greg?
Yeah, it's sick. And like that's the cool thing about Dan. Like he's so chill, and he just kind of rolls with the punches. And I feel like he's the kind of guy that these kind of crazy things can happen, and they just don't really faze him. He just gets on with it, which is really cool, and it fits really well to Enduro as well. And yeah, it was really cool to see. And like even I was kind of with them before the last stage, and I could see he was just stoked, and he was just kind of saying like, "Oh, like this is such a good day out, and like it's so nice to be here." And you could see he just wasn't flustered by the position he was in, and yeah, he threw down a heater on the last stage and won it. And yeah, it was really, really cool because he got so close in Modena a few years ago, which was his home race, and I think he got second there. And yeah, really cool to see him get his first win.
Yeah, definitely, and a few other guys going well. Good to see Jack Moyer back where we'd kind of expect to see him.
Yeah, and I don't think he expected himself. Like on Saturday, I was seated with Jack, and like stage one, he finished it and pretty much straight away started fixing Dimitri Tordo's bike, who had a puncture. Like it was like Jack had barely caught his breath, and he just flipped Dimitri's bike upside down and started working on it for him. And then we kind of like we caught back up to each other on the climb, and I'd seen the results. Jack hadn't, and I was like, "Do you want to know?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And I like told him he'd won the stage, and he was like, "No way, like he didn't believe me," which was so cool. And yeah, he had a heater on Saturday, and then had a few bumps on Sunday, and dropped back to fourth. But yeah, like he's definitely on the pace, and it's been a few years I think since he started with, he's had a clean off season and he started on the pace. I think the last few years he's kind of had off-season injuries and built through the season and ended up good. So it's cool to see him like from the start being there, and he's definitely in the title hunt now, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's good to see. And Morgane Alex Rudeau running the champ stripes, which you've been familiar with in your downhill career. Does that put a pressure on him? And also, like, what program is he on this season? Because am I right in thinking he didn't get a factory ride?
Yeah, so I think, Alex, I think he's pretty happy with the World Champ stripe. I think he was his goal last year, and he was like, almost like when he won, he was like, I wanted it and I got it. And it's really cool for him. He's such a talented rider. He started with trial like a few years ago, and he was doing World Cups and doing really good results in trial. And then he moved to Enduro only like maybe 2018 or something like that. So quite recently, and then he's just such a good rider on flat pedals as well, which is cool. And so this year the Commensal Enduro team wasn't like going to be there anymore. So he managed to stay with Commensal, but on his own program. So he's got a good setup at the races. He's got a mechanic and then like a few like people around him. I think his dad was there to help as well. And he's got like a filmer, like some good support. And he's put together this kind of like race program, which is not a full World Cup season. So I think he's doing maybe only 3 or 4 World Cups. He wasn't in Poland this week. I think he's in Madeira this week for Trans Madeira, and he's doing like a few like different races, like Mega Avalanche and some like I don't know, like some like races over like a few days, and then just different stuff. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah, good for him.
Bit of a mixed program. Yeah, and a hard one for Jesse Melamed, Greg. We're used to seeing him near the top of the timing sheets, and he was right. He took a stage win, but a puncture on stage 1 kind of took him out of contention, and I think he ball smashed his saddle off on one of the stages as well.
Yeah, it was kind of gutting for Jesse because. Yeah, again, like he's had the last couple of years, he's had some tough luck as well. And to start the season like that is the worst, like on the first stage. To just be straight away out of the race is pretty horrible. So, yeah, it was a shame for him. Like, I think, he was running like a lighter casing tire, and like he said, he ran it all off season. It was fine. He had no problems. Like, he tried to push those tires to puncture basically, and he never did in the off season. And then of course first stage of the season he said it was just in a corner, and like it was nothing special. It wasn't a crazy rocky corner into it, and something just caught the tire in the wrong way and just sliced it, and just really unfortunate. So unfortunately that was him kind of out of the running straight away, but fair play to him. Like he kept pushing on and he kept chasing stages, and I think his goal was to get the points go back to 100th place, So his goal was to get back into the top 100, which was crazy because he lost like 3 or 4 minutes. And I think he ended up like 101st or 102nd by like 1 or 2 seconds. So like he put in such a big effort and unfortunately didn't get any points to show for it. But yeah, at least, you know, I think for himself, he saw that he had the speed with that stage win. So like he's definitely someone that he will be chasing for wins this year when things do click for him.
Yeah, definitely had the pace. And Greg, you published some stats from the weekend, which kind of blew my mind. 26 hours on the bike, 176 kilometers, best part of 7,000 meters climbed, 9,000 meters descended, 11,000 calories, which is, I don't even know how you can get close to consuming that over 4 days. Like, that was a big shift, eh?
Yeah, it was a big shift. Yeah. And like, yeah, like I love those stats. And like, I've been racing enduro since the start. So I've done most of them. And I was trying to think back to if we've done more than that. And I don't think we have. So like, I did have a look through and like Olarg in 2018, we came close. We did almost 6,000 meters climbing, but it was 21 hours, 164 kilometers. But that was a gnarly race. The tracks were definitely a lot gnarlier, so it was different. And Valdivia in Chile, we did 200 kilometers, 6,500 meters climbing, but still a bit less than what Pietra was, because I think over the years, whenever we've had massive races, we've usually got some sort of shuttles in practice, and then the race days will be bigger, but it's the first time we've had to do 4 days just on our bike without any shuttles. So yeah, like everyone talks about, you know, bringing back the good old days, but we've actually surpassed the good old days. We're doing more than back then, which is crazy, and it's really cool. It's really, really cool. I think maybe cool. I was chatting to Francesco, who's like the main man in finale for the course, and he was saying maybe in 2017 we did more elevation when we raced Karma Trail, but I think this week still might have been the biggest. I might be proven wrong on that, but it might be the biggest race we've ever done. Impressive.
And the one stat we haven't covered that kind of surprised me, it was 2 fisherman's friends per race day. So firstly, for anyone that doesn't know what a fisherman's friend is, can you explain that? And then also, why and how are you using them at a race?
Yeah, it's actually a sponsor, would you believe?
Really?
Which is pretty sick, because I've actually used them for the last few years, because like when you're out for a long day and you're feeling tired and a bit sluggish and you start getting a bit lethargic, it's the fisherman's friend. It's a really strong mint, for those who don't know, and like it blows the head off you. Like it really opens you up. So like to take one mid-race when you're feeling a bit tired, it really kind of wakes you up. And last year I did a race called the Epic Enduro, and like I'd laid out all my food before it and took a picture of it, and like there was a packet of fisherman friends and I tagged them in it, and they messaged me, like, oh, that's really cool, you use them, like we should do something together. And then now it's actually a sponsor, which is really cool. But yeah, it was quite funny. Like on day 1, I think before stage 3, we were all at the feed zone and I pulled them out and shared them around to all the boys, and everyone was loving it, to be fair.
No way.
So it's a good little hack, to pick yourself up.
I would, well, I've given you a good little sponsorship plug there, so big up Fisherman's Friends. But yeah, I would never have thought of throwing them into an enduro race, but now you've explained it, I can imagine how that would like just give you a good nudge of like, it's not an energy thing, right? But it's going to wake you up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, it's a bit similar to like the nasal strips that you see, but they're quite difficult to wear with goggles. So, and it's just like, it's such a quick hit. So like, yeah, it just perks you up really. It's pretty good.
Okay, you win the award for most obscure race nutrition, Greg. I like that. So Morgane, back to back with Poland, right? Like we've come off the biggest race we've had, if Greg is to be believed, which is I'm going to believe him. And then you've got, I would assume, quite a bit of travel. I don't know how you get from Italy to Poland, and also some recovery to be doing. Like, talk us through that.
Yeah, so we finished the race on Sunday night with like pretty low energy levels. And then on Monday, everyone started to travel to Poland. So some people were driving, and I think it was around like maybe 15, 16 hours drive. And we got lucky to be flying. So it was a pretty early start. We went to Nice airport and got a flight to Krakow. And straight to Poland. So like I can't complain. It was pretty easy compared to driving. We joined I joined the downhill team there. I was already there, and it was cool. Like definitely, like the first few days of the week, I wasn't doing much. I was just trying to recover and get ready for the race. But yeah.
Yeah. Who's got the friendly cat? I can hear it.
Yeah, sorry, that's
Is it
me.
yours? That's all
Maybe I
good.
just opened the door quick.
No, it's okay. The cat's having a good time. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if we keep going. Maybe I open so she doesn't. Oh, maybe it's fine. She's good.
She'll be all right.
I
She'll
can't
be all right.
hear it anymore. Sorry.
You're okay. So were you glad, Greg, to have a different format coming into Poland, right? Like 1 day racing, 1 day practice, and a rest day in between must have been quite welcome after that finale mission.
Yeah, I think we needed it really. Like it was a quick turnaround, but it was definitely a lot less volume for the week. But even we arrived Monday evening, Tuesday did a bit of track walking, so you were like straight into another race week. And yeah, again, like I think how you managed Pietra had such an effect on Poland because like if you dug yourself a hole on the first week, you would kind of feel it the second week. And yeah, I think the weather as well didn't help people's energy levels. Like practice was so cold. Like one of the coldest practice day I can remember anyway. And that takes a lot of energy as well. So I think like it was, on paper it wasn't the toughest race, but in reality it was because of all those different circumstances.
So Morgane, you've been joined by the cat keeping you warm now, but you weren't warm in Poland. Like what things are you putting into place to deal with riding in those conditions? I guess you're fairly familiar with it, like we're living where you do in France, but.
Yeah, we get these conditions over the winter, but I think I looked at the forecast, but I wasn't really considering how cold it was going to be. So I set off like pretty like normal, just like riding pants and like jacket, but not crazy things. And then after 2 stages, my feet were like so wet and it was snowing at the top and I couldn't feel my hands anymore. So I was like, okay, I need to do something about that. So yeah, I just put some like little like plastic bags on my feet inside the socks, and we had these little like surgery gloves as well, like little like tiny gloves to put like under the riding gloves, and yeah, it worked pretty good. Kept us warm or at least dry. And it was still like a really, really cold day. So it was fun to ride. The conditions were good for riding. It was actually like the grip was okay. But yeah, I think we lost like a lot of energy and everyone was so tired after practice. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, keeping warm does surprisingly take a lot of energy out of the body. Hey, you can go on a cold ride and feel a lot more tired than you would on a warm version of the same ride. Greg, what were the trails like? How would you describe them?
Yeah, to be fair, it was probably one of the better places to have a really wet race like that because the trails are like a trail center. They're still quite natural and rough and technical, but they get a lot of traffic. So the ground is like really, really hard. So even with that much moisture, the trails didn't really move a whole lot. So yeah, it was great because like had they have been maybe fresher, softer tracks, I think it would have become a completely just a physical race because the gradient's not super steep. So you really need that rolling speed. So yeah, like the tracks responded really well to the weather, which was a bit of a blessing because it would have been really tough if it was any muddier than it was.
Yeah, and Morgane, this is the first combined race of the year. We had the DH going on the same week as well. Do you feel that like has a significant impact on like the interest in enduro? Like, how would you compare Pietra and how that felt to you guys versus this week in Poland?
Yeah, I think probably there's like just more time to focus on the enduro if it's only enduro on 1 week. With downhill on the same week, even for the photographers, they couldn't all make it to Shakedown, for example, because they were doing shots at the downhill, which at this race is also like 25 minutes away, so it's not like really close, so you can't really like do both. For sure, I think if it's only enduro, it's probably more media, more interest. But it's also cool for us to see everyone for the downhill, and I get to be with the full like Pivot Factory team, and you could see like familiar faces from the downhill. So it's got some positive as well.
Yeah, and Greg, it looked like, despite there being some downhill stuff going on the same day as your race day, that you had a good turnout for fans. Maybe it was just that one bit, but like I've seen footage of you riding down basically a tunnel of fans. Like it looked incredible.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, I think Poland, there's a real love for enduro, and I think it seems that enduro is bigger than downhill, and I think, like, even for the organisers, I heard that originally it was an enduro that they wanted, and then the downhill kind of came later. So it was really, really cool to see. And I think as a spectator, like, those double header races are pretty cool, because we race on the Saturday and the downhill's on the Sunday. So for anyone that travels, they can get 2 different races out of one weekend, which is pretty sick. And yeah, like, for the weather was terrible all day, and there was so many people just out on the hill moving between stages, and yeah, like, every stage had a massive crowd, and not just in one section as well. Like, it was kind of all the way down the stages. So yeah, it was such a good atmosphere. And I kind of, you don't really realize it when you're racing. You just hear, like, noise. You kind of know that there's noise there. And then Jack Moore posted a few GoPro clips, and yeah, it's like Group B rally stuff. Like, it's because there's no B zone in enduro, so, like, the spectators are right on the side of the track, and in some cases they're kind of leaning into the track to see you coming, and then they jump out of the way. And yeah, it's such a good buzz. And yeah, I think, like, enduro, it's actually a really good spectator sport, because, you know, there's 200 riders coming, not just 40, and they come every 30 seconds down the hill, so you can see all those 200 riders on one stage, and then you move to the next stage and you can see them again. And you know, like, in Poland, it's quite a condensed venue, so you could see all 5 stages for the day. So it makes for a really good day out for those people too. And yeah, it was just sick to see such a buzz around the race.
Yeah, really good. And Morgane, do you notice that? Are you impacted at all by people there? Because I assume in practice it's relatively quiet out on the hill, and then suddenly you've got, like, trails lined with people. Is it featuring in your thoughts and what's going on for you, or are you just able to turn it off?
Yeah, I think I don't really, like, I notice it for sure, but it doesn't really affect me too much. Unless sometimes if it's in a really technical section, I'm like, okay, like, don't mess up. There's a lot of
the roots.
Yeah, the roots, for example. There was one section on the last stage which was like a lot of Camber's roots, like, really hard in the wet, and everyone was there, and if you messed up you would go, like, down the bank, like, really far away. So I think everyone was waiting for people to do that. So I was like, no, don't do that, stay on the track.
The fans have a habit of finding the spot where you're most likely to crash, right?
Yeah, for sure, they love it, they want some action. So yeah, no, it's really cool. And sometimes also, like, when people are in the really, like, physical section where you have to push, you have to pedal, it gives you that little bit extra energy. And yeah, it was so cool in Poland to see everyone stoked. And even during the liaison, you would see, like, people going to the next stages, and they would, like, cheer for you and be, like, really like, good support. So yeah, such a good vibe. Very cool.
So how was your race, Morgane? Talk us through it.
Yeah, my race, it went pretty good. I wouldn't say it's a venue that suits me best. As we saw last year. I think I struggle a little bit with more, like, flat sections where you can pedal, but you also need to pump, and it's full of roots, and I don't really know what to do. Like, sometimes I'm just like, it's hard to get the speed, and it's really different from where I live. So, like, I tried to, like, go with a really positive mindset and try my best. And yeah, it wasn't amazing, and I didn't win, and I wasn't going to win, but I ended up on the podium. So yeah, like, really, really happy with that. I struggled a lot again with vision on stage 2. We got a lot of rain on stage 2, which was the longest one. And yeah, it was, I couldn't really make it down, but it was okay. I think Rafaela, Richter and Ellie, they were just, like, riding so well at the weekend. They would always be, like, really tight together, but, like, way ahead of everyone else. So it was really, really cool to see. And yeah, unfortunately, like, didn't finish well with Rafa dislocating her shoulder before the last one. But yeah, they were, like, really fast.
Yeah, talk us through Rafaela and Ellie a little bit. So Rafaela is a name that I think has been around for a while. Like, it's a familiar name to me. Ellie, not so much. Like, tell us a little bit about those two.
Yeah, Rafa. So I think during her first EWS season, I remember in 2019, she came from, like, pretty much nowhere, and she got on the podium straight away. she was she was like a privateer riding for Juliana, and I think she got third in leather in 2019. So like straight away riding so well, and then she got in like proper like teams and like good support and everything. And she always had some really strong results, but a few like ups and downs. She had like a few injuries, and she got really close to the podium a few times, but I don't think she got on it for the last few years. And then this year she's on her own setup, which is quite cool. So her bike is from a small company in Germany, and it's actually her boyfriend like welded the frame and like created the frame kind of. So it's really cool, and I think she's really happy. She's just like, she doesn't have like massive support or anything, but she's just like, happy. And she's riding so well this year. It was cool to see. And in Poland, she was like just so fast. And then it was really close. I think she was in front before the last stage, but for like 0.4. So like really close with Ellie. And then she was warming up. So we had like quite a lot of time to wait before dropping into the last stage. And it was really cold. So she was just like warming up, like moving her body and her shoulders. And she just like dislocated her shoulder like before the start. So it was so heartbreaking for her.
So this was from like swinging her arms around to warm up. Her shoulder popped. Has she damaged it in the past? Because once those ligaments get loose or whatever, they do tend to come out a bit easier. But that seems crazy. Yeah,
it's crazy. I think she had a few issues in the past, but she got checked during the winter, and they like didn't think he would need like surgery or anything. I'm not sure, but I think I heard that. And I think she was kind of used to it, but it was like quite bad. And because it was so cold, she couldn't like put it back in place herself. So it was just so sad for her. She was like maybe gonna win her first World Cup, and she just didn't get a chance to do the last stage. So I'm sure she will get like more opportunities. So she was like pretty positive. I sent her a message after, and she was like really positive. So it's good for her. I hope she can be fit and strong for the next round.
Yeah, definitely. And then hopefully. And then Ellie, she's so she was riding in U21 last year. And she was already like riding amazing, like also like really good skills, really like technical rider. I think she's been training a lot this winter. And she was just so positive all day. You could see her like it was really cold and wet and hard, and she was just smiling and really happy and really focused on like her warm up before the stages. And she was just like doing her thing. And she was just like so fast. So really cool. And then I think she didn't check the result all day. And then before the last stage, we get reseeded. So we start in the order of the like race. So she was like looking for the start list. And I was like, I think you're gonna start like near the end, like you've been doing pretty good. And she was like, oh really, like that's cool. But she had no idea she was like pretty much winning. Amazing.
So it was like so cool. And then she had like a great last stage, and just won her first World Cup. And it's her first season in Elite, and she's already winning. And it's so cool. And she was just like with her mom, like traveling with her mom, and just like no big support. She's got sponsors, but no like mechanic or anything. So she did so well.
Good stuff. It's cool to see these names coming through and having success. It always adds to the mix of excitement for the fans watching the sport. Greg, talk us through your weekend. How was it?
Yeah, it was good, apparently.
Did you not think it was?
Honestly, not really. Like, it was such a funny race because, like, with the conditions, the trails were running quite slow. And, like, it's not the steepest place. And like Morgane said, like, it's a lot about, like, generating your speed. So you're always trying to, like, pump and pedal, but it's still quite rough. So, like, you want to pedal, but you can't pedal. And it kind of sometimes feels like you're doing the wrong thing. So like I came down stage 1 and like I was kind of all over. I felt like I was a bit all over the place, and my body felt like flat and tired from the 2 weeks before. But I was just kind of trying to tell myself that like everyone feels tired, so you need to push. So like I pushed really hard physically. But yeah, I got down to the bottom of the stage and was like, that was okay, but like not good enough. And then on the way to stage 2, like people were being nice to me, and like I was kind of like, it's real funny when you're doing well, like how people talk to you a bit differently. And I'd be with other riders, but people would be like, "Oh, well done, Greg, like keep it up, Greg," or whatever. And I was like, that's weird. And I wasn't going to check the time, so I was like, I should probably check now because people are going to keep being weird to me. So I checked and I saw I was second. And I was like, oh, cool, that's really good. And I just kind of kept doing what I was doing and focusing on stage by stage, and I was really happy that like I stayed good on every stage. Like I think I had only stage 2 was outside the top 5, which was, like it's probably the most consistent race I've had in a long time at that end of the field. And then we were kind of battling like after stage 3. There was like myself, Louis Jondal and Marco Osborne were all on the same between second and fourth place, and then Jack Moore was a bit behind. And stage 4 I had a good one and like pulled a bit of a gap on those ones, but then Jack won the stage, so he closed in on me. And then the last stage I had a good one again, but Jack threw down an absolute heater, so he jumped up into second and I was third. And like really, really happy to finish on the podium. And like I got a podium last year in Luneville. It was 7 years before I had one before that. So like to now get one only, 3 races later, like it feels so good, and it's such a different feeling to have it early in the season. And just like, it feels really good, and it's nice to know that I kind of have all the pieces of the puzzle, and we're coming into a nice big block of races now, so can hopefully keep that momentum going, and hopefully that's just where I am.
Good confidence builder, eh?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Because you never know, like the off season, you're doing everything you can, and until you go racing, you don't know if you're in the right place or like if you're behind it or ahead of it or whatever. So it's really nice just to get that affirmation that like, like you've been doing the right things, and you're there, you're where you want to be, you know.
Good stuff. And I guess Slav was always going to be hard to beat, right? He wanted that one badly after being so close last year to Charlie.
Yeah, he was on a tear. Yeah, and like same in Pietra last week, like he was in it for the win there as well. And so this weekend, like it was his 4th time being close to the win before the last stage, and like he had a puncture on stage 2 and repaired it and got through the day. And then I kind of didn't know much about how his day had gone because I hadn't seen a whole lot of him during the day. And then we were lining up for the last stage, and someone asked him like, "Oh, how's the hole in your tire?" And I was like, "Oh, you're joking! Like, there's no way he's got another story that could potentially ruin this for him." And like, as much as I wanted to win, like he deserves to win, and I kind of, to see him win at home is kind of, I think everyone wanted that. So he held it together. He had a good one on the last stage, and he got the win. And it was really cool, really special for him to get his first win in front of a home crowd, and he's now leading the overall as well. So I think, although I'm sure he would have loved to have won in Pietra as well, it was probably worth the wait for him to get it at home.
Yeah, good on him. And you had Louis Jondal mixing things up in the men's as well. I think you mentioned he's local to you guys.
Yeah, he's a neighbour here. Really, really impressive ride for him, because he got sick in Pietra, and on Sunday he like started the race and did the first stage, and on the way to stage 5 I was kind of riding with him, and he was just like, "No, I can't, like I'm empty," and he pulled out of the race. And that was, obviously heartbreaking to start your season with a DNF. And even on shakedown on Wednesday, he came and did a couple of runs, and he was still, like, you could see he was sick. Like, he was speaking with, like, his head was all blocked up, and you could see he didn't really feel good. And then, he in such a physical, tough race, like, he still threw down such a heater. And 4th place is really cool. And it's, I think it's a good start for him on the new team. I think, like, it's been obviously a different off season for him, changing teams and learning a new bike and new equipment. Like, he changed everything on the bike. So early in the season to be so on the pace, I think is a really good sign for him.
Exciting stuff. And Morgane, in the women's 4th place went to, again, a name that I'm probably going to mispronounce, Barbara Vojta. Do you know much about Barbara?
Not too much, actually, but she was racing all the EWS a few years ago, and I think she took a break for maybe 1 season or maybe a bit more because she had a baby. And then she came back. I think she was in Canada last year for World Champs. or maybe it was a year before. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know her too much, but yeah, she had such a good race, and it seems like she's back for a full season, hopefully. And yeah, she's doing really well, 4th place, and also in 5th, Delia Damoconio from Switzerland, and she's really young. She was U21 last year, and she's on the YT development program, and she's riding really well as well. So yeah, more names going for aiming for the podium at least. So it's cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you pronounced that one for me. Thanks, Morgane. And Greg, we got Ryan Gilchrist in 5th at both rounds so far. Again, doing a mixed program this year. Are you glad he's not focusing full time on EDR?
Yeah, Ryan's a beast. He's just so good on bikes, every kind of bike. And like he flew, so we raced on Saturday, and on Sunday he flew to Cairns for Crankworks. And he was saying he was arriving Monday night, and Tuesday morning was downhill practice. Like his schedule is insane, and then he's hoping, he wasn't sure, but he was hoping to then come back to Ludenville, which is the following week. So like, yeah, fair play to him. He's good. He's very good at managing all that kind of stuff, you know, and just getting on with it.
Fair play, yeah.
It was great to see him have such a strong start to the season. Like obviously he won the e-bike series last year, and he's been killing it on the e-bike. So it was always interesting to see how he would transfer onto the acoustic bikes or muscle bikes or whatever you call bikes. And he's definitely got the pace, and he's got the engine as well. So it was cool to see. There's been quite a few breakout rides, like even, well, it's not really a breakout I would say, but like Marco Osborne in 6th, that was his career best. So he's around a long time, and he was another one that he didn't check the times all day, and I was hanging out with him before the last stage, and he was like, there again, it was the reseed, and he had no idea how he was doing. And like there was less and less people at the top, and he was like where am I? How's my name? And I was like, yeah, you're starting a bit late. Like you'll be pretty happy with how your day's gone. So like that was, yeah, it was class to see. And then a breakout for me definitely was William Brodie. He was top 10 at the first 2 races, and like in Pietra, him and Corey Watson, they were staying in the van. So I don't think too many people have pulled off at World Cup top 10 while sleeping in a van, and the two of them actually work together as window cleaners in Interleithen. So probably the world's fastest window cleaners, the pair of them. But it's cool. Like he did a lot of downhill racing in the off season, and I think that, you know, helped him build the pace, and he's obviously been training hard because he's doing well in the physical stuff too. So yeah, a few new faces that are fighting for the top results. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Morgane, do you think like Enduro misses names like Hattie, Richie and Martin who've crossed over to downhill, or is there that flip side that it's giving some limelight maybe to some new names and some new riders?
Yeah, I think we definitely like missing a few people this year, and it was cool that they all, maybe not Martin, but Richie and Hattie, they made the effort, and they wanted, I think, to come to Pietra for the first round. I think they both like still love Enduro, and they want to do more. I think they want to do world champs at least if they can. So yeah, for sure. And then Isabeau like stepped away for this year, so it's like pretty different, and less people that we used to see at the front, but also like you said, it gives space to the young generation, and everyone is like pushing really hard. And yeah, I think we're just gonna see like some like really, really strong riders, like for sure coming from the really young ones. So yeah, it's cool as well.
Yeah, Greg, to be fair, those 3 that did step across, Hattie, Martin and Richie, all did a very good job in downhill. It just shows like how good you lot are at riding bikes, whether it's a downhill or an enduro track, right?
Yeah, it was great to see yesterday. Like they're all flying and on the pace straight away, starting the season, and yeah, it's a big change for those guys. Like I think a downhill race weekend is structured so differently to what we do, and the thing that blows my mind with downhill compared to enduro is just how they raise the speed throughout the week. So like I think that was probably a big adjustment for those guys, but they seem to handle it so well. So yeah, it's really cool. And like Morgane said, like it's cool to see Hattie and Richie race the first round. And I know like even Martin, he probably would have liked to have raced it, and I feel like he was probably a bit sad to have missed it, and he was definitely keeping an eye on how the enduro races were going. So yeah, hopefully I'm sure we'll see those guys dip their toes back into some enduro over the next God knows how long.
So we've seen a few new names popping up already into the top spots. And Greg, you mentioned William Brodie as someone to look out for. Are there any other riders that you kind of have spotted out there that you think are on the up and up? Like I'll add Bailey Christie into that list. Greg, I think you had a good run in the first 2 rounds. What do we know about Bailey?
Yeah, it's great to see Bailey stepping up as well, and JT Fisher as well. There's actually 2 first-year elites, and like they both got a taste for racing elites at World Champs last year. Which was pretty cool. They raced in elites because there was no junior in the World Champs, but they also got put into Group A for the race, so they got like a taste of how it is to be around Group A. And yeah, they've both taken to it really well, and they're both mixing around the top 10. And yeah, I think like they were posting those times last year in the U21s, and yeah, they're just obviously keeping on that momentum. And then, yeah, another young rider that's on the up, I would say, is Tarmo Rainanen, a Finnish rider. He had a really good season last year. He's been building the last few years, and yeah, I think he had 2 top 10s again as well to start this season. So yeah, there's definitely a few new faces there. Seem to be building momentum as the season goes on, and I think there's probably going to be a few first time podiums this year, which is really exciting.
That is good. Morgane, what about you? You mentioned Didier already, but is there anyone else that you've kind of had your eye on that you think's got some serious pace coming into this year?
Yeah, I think also like in the juniors, there were like really fast riders that we didn't have before at the World Cup because there wasn't a junior category. They were like a bit older. So I think, in Pietra, so it was a good battle, I think, with Elise Porta who is riding for Lapierre, and Lucille Mage, so two French girls. They were like battling like pretty hard for first place, and then Elise, unfortunately, she had a crash and broke her collarbone. So Lucille got the win, which was really cool. And then also in the junior men, Melvin Almus won in Pietra, and Tommy Bougon in Poland, and they're both like on just like a small French team. They ride pivot bikes, so that's cool. And they've been like doing so well. So yeah, really, really cool to see and to give some more like experience and more spotlight to really young riders like this. So that's really cool.
Good stuff. And we talked about Winnie earlier. Did she crash out in Poland? What happened to Winnie? Do we know?
Yeah, I think she crashed on stage 1 and hit her head like quite bad, maybe. But she still did, like, she raced stage 2, and then I saw her at the top of stage 3, and she wasn't like feeling really good, and she still wanted to race. She was like, no, but I just want to like ride my bike and keep going. But you could see she wasn't feeling like, she had like big crash, I think. So yeah, I think John, her like filmer and kind of team manager for Specialized, was there, and he like managed to talk to her, and like she realized it wasn't the best decision to keep riding. So I think she took some rest, and hopefully she's feeling good for the next one.
Good stuff. So the overall stack up: Ella Connolly, Morgane Charre, Ellie Hoskin in the women's, and then Slavomir Lukacic, Jack Moore, Greg Callaghan in the men's. Greg, how does that feel? Was that the first time you've been sat in the top 3 after the first 2 rounds?
No, not quite. Back in 2017, I was leading the series for a few races. So
yeah.
It's but it's first time in a while for sure, and it feels really good. Like it's very early in the year to be looking too much into that, but it's nice to it's nice to be in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, that's super cool. And Morgane, you're fairly familiar with being in and around that spot for the last few years, but how does that help you feel coming into the rest of the season? Are you hungry for more? Yeah,
for sure. So the last few seasons I've been battling in that top 3 overall, and I always want more, but there's always a lot of competition, and I think everyone wants to win, and it's really cool because it makes it really exciting. Ella has been really consistent at the start of the season, and Ellie, she just had such a good performance in Poland, so it's still quite close, and it's still like a lot of races. So I'm gonna try my best
Excited for it. Yeah, next up we've got Lunenville. Greg, that treated you pretty well last year, despite the horrific conditions. Are you excited for it? And what's the long-range weather forecast? Have you been looking yet?
Yeah, it's mixed. I haven't looked at it too much, but it could rain, which I would not be against, as you could probably guess. Last year was a complete muddle there. It was actually a bit crazy. And yeah, I think it's no secret that I do enjoy a bit of mud. But it's somewhere that I had struggled with in the past, actually. So it was nice to have done well there last year. And yeah, I think, like with the bike, the Irish Ripmo that I'm riding, it seems to work really well on that kind of steep terrain. So yeah, looking forward to getting back there. And yeah, as I say, with a bit of momentum now from Poland, it'll be nice to go back and hopefully have a good one.
Exciting stuff. And then later in the season, we're visiting Morgane for the first time. Again, I've probably got the pronunciation a bit wrong, Morgane. You can let me know on that one. But I think that's basically pretty much where both of you live right now. Yeah. What can we expect from that venue? Morgane, you're the expert.
No, that was great pronunciation, Chris.
Thank you.
Perfect. Morgane, it's really close to Samoin. It's in that same valley. So Samoin, there was an EWS a few years ago. I was still doing downhill at that point, but
that was a good few years ago, like 2018 or something, Greg?
15.
Was it that long? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool to have a race like back in the area. And it's like really close to where we live. It's really like natural terrain, roots, dirt, like really good dirt. I think it's going to be really cool. It's so exciting. I didn't know there was going to be the World Cup here until like pretty much a week before they announced it. One of my friends was like, I think Warner came to have a look. And I was like, oh my God, that's cool. So yeah, it's like really like home race for me and for Greg as well. Now he lives there as well. And it's going to be good. I don't know how the weather is going to be. It could be like anything, even in August here. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, and if people are in Léger Morzine for that World Cup like event, how close is it to get over in the car?
It's pretty close. It's like maybe 25-30 minutes from Léger, and it's so the week before the downhill World Cup. So yeah, it would be like pretty good to come and watch the race in Morgane, maybe get some riding in Samoin or like around Léger or Morzine at the start of the week late after, and then stay to watch the downhill and cross-country World Cup. So yeah, that would be a good holiday, good move. And then there is also the open race in Morgane, so like people could actually ride the tracks, and it would be pretty sick.
Sweet. Greg?
One thing on that for how easy it would be to watch, like for anyone on holiday in Léger and Morzine that doesn't maybe want to race the open, you can actually from the top of Léger, you can drop down into the Samoin Valley. So you could actually ride to watch the race. And then there's actually, which blows my mind, is the coolest thing, there's a shuttle bus from Samoin to the top of basically Léger. And it has bike racks and it's €2.
What?
Yeah, so it would actually, if you're based in Morzine-Léger that week, it would be really easy to come over and have a look at the race.
Interesting. So you go up the lift on the side of the cross-country track, not the downhill track, right? And come down on the back of that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And there is a really good trail down.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
So it's a good day.
There you go. Yeah, so if you're in Léger Morzine around that time, head over and see the Enduro Morgane and get into watch these incredible riders on the stage. It's been a lot of fun catching up, finding out a little bit about the first couple of rounds. Sounds like Enduro's in a good place. Excited to see how it progresses throughout the year, and excited to follow both of you two as well. If people want to keep up to date with what you're up to, Morgane, where should people be looking to follow you?
Just on Instagram. So it's, Morgane Charre on Instagram, and try to post some news and some photos and videos. Good
stuff. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, on Instagram, it's at Greg_Callaghan. And then on YouTube, we're actually doing videos from each race. So just Greg Callaghan on YouTube, and keep up to date there.
Good stuff. I'll stick links in the show notes to all of that so people can find it. But thanks. Enjoy the rest of the season. Hopefully it goes well for both of you, and maybe we'll catch up again a little bit later in the year.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for having us. Always good to chat.